Hello, I'm Lois Reitzes, host of City Lights. Thank you for joining us. The saying, never meet your heroes, does not apply to the Indigo Girls. Amy Ray and Emily Saliers will not disappoint, for they are as kind as they are talented. They are going on tour tomorrow, a big multi-city tour running through the fall. Yet they took time to come in and record this interview for my final week at WABE before retirement. A week of shows featuring guests I cherish. This singer-songwriter duo remains true to their Georgia and Atlanta roots after decades of acclaim, hit albums, and world tours. Please join me for the privilege and delight in welcoming back to City Lights the Indigo Girls.
That's so nice.
Sweet. Very sweet.
Well, you have got a fully loaded calendar of tour dates. Please tell us where you're headed and what you're especially looking forward to.
Sure.
Well, first we're going to Fairfax, Virginia for a couple shows with the symphony there. And the symphony shows are always challenging and rewarding. It's just beautiful to have all that music, all those parts, the strings and the horns and everything with arrangement of our songs. So that's really, really cool. And Katie Pruitt is going to open this next round of shows for us, and we love her. And Amy and I have always been about our opening acts as much as anything else. And then we're going to join with Melissa Etheridge and do a co-headlining tour, which will take us to Chastain Park, too, which is...
Wow.
So, and then we're going to play Radio City. I'm very excited about that.
That is fantastic. Do the Rockettes still kick up their heels?
I don't know. Do they?
I don't know either.
I don't know.
If not, then their ghosts do, definitely.
Okay, no kick lines, but Melissa Etheridge, another legendary talent. Will you talk about your friendship with Melissa and your parallel careers?
Well, when we did start around the same time, for sure, and we crossed paths with her in L.A., I think originally, right?
I can't remember where exactly.
It's interesting because they really were like parallel in some ways that we didn't hang out a lot. She was kind of in like that sort of West Coast celebrity world, and we were sort of over here in the Georgia world.
This is not celebrity.
Well, it's just a different kind.
Home.
It's a different kind.
This is home.
It's a different scene. You know?
Oh, yes.
And she had so many really big hit records, and we were kind of always a little bit more of a bar band, I guess, in some ways. And, when we got together to do this tour, it was like something that we had no expectations of, like, how's this going to go? And, are we going to like each other and get along and have fun touring together and, all that.
This tour?
Yeah, because the one that we did this last summer, and we had no idea how it would go, whether everybody would vibe together, because when you're co-billing, you never know if everybody does things differently and all that stuff. And it was amazing. It was like she was super generous. Her crew was amazing. Her band was amazing. Everybody was great. And her shows were like, I was like mouth open, like jaw dropped when I heard her start, because it was like she's just never lost it, and she's gotten better. I mean, honestly gotten better, like just playing guitar leads like crazy, and her voice is incredible. And so for us, it was like one of these little gifts of like getting to, become friends after all these years of not really knowing each other that well, and just kind of having parallel tracks, and
So
it's very special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
being co-travelers isn't intimidating or worrisome.
No, I mean, she's got her bus and we got our bus. And but as Amy said, everybody was really, really kind and worked well together. And then we sing together on stage, which is really, really fun. And the other thing is that we're so much older now, obviously, than we were. We were babies when we first started making records. And so now we've been through a lot of life. and there's a seasoning, and I'm going to call it wisdom, I guess, that we get to share with each other about what we've been through in life. And that's a very, I don't know, it's a beautiful experience to share some of that.
You talk about being babies. Do I remember correctly? I think I read this way back. You and your sister wrote a song or made up a song about the environment.
Yeah.
And you recorded it on 8-track cassette?
It was with both my sisters. We wrote a song called Pollution in the Air. I still remember it. And then I was in a little baby band because my sister Elizabeth and I were in the Young Singers of Callanwald. And so was my sister Carrie, who's passed on now. But and then Elizabeth and I were in a little band with 2 other singers of Callanwald, and we recorded that, some stuff on 8-track tape. But yeah, we started early.
Wow. Amy, do you have that 8-track in your vast collection?
No, I was just, actually, while Emily was saying that, I was like, where is that tape, to myself?
Because
Emily's got that tape. That's a...
I don't know where it is, though.
you need Amy to find it. I'm telling you, you belong in the Library of Congress.
I do have a massive affection for the Library of Congress.
And for ordering
I'm a
your
nerd. I love
archive.
archiving, you know?
Oh, we need
And
that.
I love history, so I just... Atlanta History Center, you know, I love history. So it's so fun. But I do want to know where that tape is.
I'm curious about the repertoire for this upcoming tour. New versus classics. It's a balancing act, I'm sure. How do you indulge your fans expecting favorites while keeping it fresh for yourselves, wanting to introduce new work?
Well, we don't have new songs right now, so that's not a frustration at this total moment. But you know, we change the set list every night, and we also go through, like Emily just texted me a couple days ago and said, you know, can we play this song I Believe in Love on the next tour? So I'll relearn it. You know, like there's obscure things that we'll pull out, and we just get in the mood to do a song and tell each other we need to relearn it, and then we do that. So we indulge our own, you know, kind of needs to do things that we haven't done. And then there are just certain songs that are, you know, really great sing-alongs, and they're even though we do them all the time, they're super fun to do, and we can always bring out like the opening band to sing with us, and it's just, you know, so it's like a balance between the classics that everyone's going to sing with, which is really fun, and we pull out some obscure things, and then we rotate the set. You know, every night is different, and you know, according to the venue and what we feel like and the crowd and everything.
This reminds me of something that the conductor Robert Spano said when he came here, because he came from the Brooklyn Philharmonic and he was known for this cutting-edge repertoire. And, you know, I think a lot of people here wondered what was going to be on the programs. And he said, new doesn't have to mean newly written. That what you were saying about going into your own archive, relearning, or playing something you had not thought about for years, that's fresh for you.
Yeah.
And, you know, your fans can feel the delight as you're exposing something that hasn't been maybe available to them before. So was Look Long the last recording you did together?
Yeah.
2020.
Yes.
Oh, that was quite a year.
I know we released it right at the beginning of the pandemic, too, but with intention. So that's the newest album, though.
And will you have songs from Look Long on this
Yes.
tour?
Sure. Yeah. Every record. We usually try to hit every record a little bit.
We did learn, though, from the last tour with Melissa, you know, it's summer venues outside. They tend to be larger. We tried playing, just because we wanted to, what might be considered more obscure songs. And it just feels that the impact of maybe some more familiar or some rockin' songs, or because we'll have a full band with us, felt more suited to the venues and the summertime vibe. So that is one thing that we're going to take into account and implement on this particular tour. So you learn what your audiences want, and we never dial it in. It's always interesting to us, but we do take hints from the vibe of the audience, so to speak.
Any tributes? There have been artists who've passed recently.
Yeah, so many great ones. I don't know. We almost feel like it's too soon sometimes, and now when artists pass away, it's like friends of ours, and so it's
Too raw.
Yeah, it's just too hard to do a Sinead O'Connor song or something, and it's like just too soon and too hard, and I don't know. And there's some people you can't interpret. There's some people you just can't do their music with. Well, we can't. Someone could.
We choose not to. Yeah.
I don't know. Emily was talking about Stephen Sondheim. I could hear you doing some Sondheim.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa, what a challenge that would be.
Yeah.
But I've never even thought about that.
You've been known to rise to challenges before.
You've challenged us. Now we have to think. Now we're gonna have to think about that. We're gonna be tossing that around, I'm sure.
Well, if you think about it, Sondheim wrote songs like "Send in the Clown,"
Yeah.
so very accessible songs,
Yeah.
along with his other.
Judy Collins.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's
No,
amazing.
she's a great interpreter, though. She's even now just a standout.
Still got it.
she does. Amazing. 85, 86.
So bright, so funny, so full of life. We crossed paths with her fairly recently, and she's just like, wow.
Her show was amazing.
Yeah.
She's so funny. Walks out there in those super high heel shoes, and she's just dancing around and making jokes and singing so beautifully. And I don't know, it's really vibrant. Her show is very
Captivating.
vibrant, captivating.
I can't help but think of Judy Blue Eyes, though. Whenever I
Yeah.
don't care if she's 85
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
6. I was wondering about how radically the music industry has changed since you began in the 1980s. Knowing how social justice and activism are essential to your creative output, do you think social activism through music can still thrive when so many fans consume their music online or digital platforms?
I do. I mean, there's a lot of young artists, particularly queer artists, who are activists, and largely because they came into the world forced to be activists, to stand for their own rights and the rights of others, and they're very, very inspiring artists. And I also think that a generation of young people is super savvy, super smart, knows what's going on with power structures and the old way that they're hoping to replace, in time, and have their voice and have their say. So I think it's an extremely vibrant time for young people to be politically and socially active. We're always inspired by them. Amy and I have always taken great inspiration from young activists, people who care. So, I mean, I think with music, it's the same as it ever was in terms of you're going to have your pop songs and you're going to have people who don't really lock into lyrics and they just want to have music for a good time, and that's fine. But there's also always been, you mentioned Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, I mean, CSN and CSNY, I'd call them a political group in many ways, and there were many of that era, obviously, who were. And so it's always been a mishmash. You have some people who just want music for the love and for the fun of it, and then you have some people who are going to be inspired by music to be politically and socially active.
I really find that encouraging. I mean, heartening to hear you say that, because, I don't know, thinking about Woodstock or the Democratic Convention in Chicago in 1968, there was something so unifying about the music and being in person, singing those words together and feeling the meaning of those lyrics. But as you say, the younger artists were already born into this paradigm. And so being online is can be as engaging.
Well, the rooms are different too. There's a lot of smaller rooms where it's happening, like in art spaces and people's basements still and backyards. I have a niece who's in a band called Equal Creatures, and I feel like most of their shows are in alternative type spaces. And, you forget that there's still a lot of people meeting in those small spaces and carrying that energy out into a larger space of protest or just of their life, and how to be strong, gathering their energy from that moment together. So I still think live music is engaging and important to people. I just think the big arena shows, they serve a slightly different purpose, but there can still be a subversiveness to getting together to go see Chapel Roan, or something. And maybe you're going to hear pop music, but you're hearing pop music by a trans artist, and it's like in the era when you would go, listen to a black artist, and it became subversive to be in a space that vice versa, that that you weren't together in that space sometimes until that moment, and so I still see it. I'm still heartened by live music, and I still think it is a tool to gather people together. Those protest songs of the 60s, we're never going to write those again. Like, those were, you can write new ones, but those are of a time and a spirit that has a place that's so inspiring still to listen to and have. But I think there's a different way of engaging music, I think, and every age has its different way, and I think pop music is like an ultimate gathering tool right now for people, and it empowers people when they get together to dance along to a pop artist who's queer, or a trans artist, or a band that's like Lake Street Dive, where it's just like very diverse band, or Tedeschi Trucks band, diverse bands, lots of different perspectives, an audience that has a lot of different perspectives. You're with your fellow humans, and you may disagree about a lot of things, but you're listening to music together. So it teaches you humanity, That's what it's for.
Emily, when we spoke in 2023, you mentioned a couple of new projects you were writing for stage musicals, and I understand there have been some major developments on that front. Do tell.
Well, major development, relatively speaking, yes. During the pandemic, I have a friend, her name is Beth Malone, and she starred in Fun Home on Broadway. And she had an idea to write a show, and nobody was really working, at least not out live during the pandemic, obviously. And she said, "Well, do you want to write the music for this show?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I ended up saying yeah to another one during the same time. But this particular musical is called Starstruck. It's loosely based on Cyrano de Bergerac, but it is also a middle-aged women queer love story, which is quite unusual.
And I must confirm, one of the lead characters is an NPR correspondent.
Yes. Her name is Roxanne Cooley, and she's an NPR podcaster.
Okay.
So I don't even know if that, yeah. Anyway, we chose that, at least for now. Things change in musicals all the time. But anyway, it's been a path, the Starstruck. We did some workshops and some 29-hour readings, and then we were just recently offered a real production run, which means costumes and lights and screens and audiences at Bucks County Playhouse Theater. And that'll be, the opening preview night will be February 20th of 2026.
That's
and it'll run until March 22nd. Yeah. So it's our first production. I'm very, very excited about it. We've gotten a lot of support early on from women-focused philanthropists, and which feels good as well. So I'm pretty excited about it.
With good reason.
It takes a long time to write a musical.
I don't know. You managed to turn out 3,
Well, they're in progress, yeah.
But Emily, thinking about music you're writing for a musical theater stage versus music on the stage of a live concert, are you writing in a different style?
It's very different because when I write my own songs, I can just write about anything I'm thinking or feeling or just, through my own lens. But this is, you have to keep the lens of the book or the story and write the songs through the lens of that. And some things that are different are like I'll write a song for the musical, feel really good about it, it'll really work, and all of a sudden things are changing in the story and then the song doesn't work anymore. So I've learned to just let go of something that I might really love. And I don't know if I should admit this or not, but it wasn't until like fairly recently that I grew to love musical theater, because before that, I just thought it was really weird that people broke into song.
Really?
Yes. I couldn't.
She did it in high school, though.
Yeah, we did. I did musical theater in high school, but like as a passion, it wasn't a passion of mine until fairly recently, and now I can't get enough of it.
Oh, I've loved it all my life.
And then it's so. I just saw a Sondheim play, the one that he passed away during, that wasn't finished, and there was Jane Krakowski. This was in the West End. Jane Krakowski and Jessie Ferguson and Martha Plimpton, and then I saw like Sondheim's Merrily We Roll Along, which had Daniel Radcliffe in it. And so the only reason I'm bringing up those names is that these people who became very famous in film and TV, musical theater is their first love. So there's nothing like being live on a stage. It's very ephemeral in the way that our performances used to be before everything was recorded, and it just happened in the moment. And there's something very beautiful about that. So I love musical theater now. I'm a complete convert. And then this is a beautiful thing that's happened that's dovetailed in my own family's life, because my daughter Cleo is passionate about musical theater, and it's not because of me. And I don't even know how much.
She's heard some tunes in her lifetime.
Yeah, but she's on her own path, and I can't tell her anything about musical theater now. She knows it all. But that's been a real joy for me.
Oh, how fantastic. Do you do the arrangements, or did you do the arrangements? I mean, I assume there's an orchestra.
Our musical director supervisor for Starstruck is a guy named Tom Kitt, and he does the arrangements. He's really, really good. Amy and I have worked with him before because he had us come to New York and sing a couple songs from one of his shows. So that was neat to meet him way back when, and then to have him fully involved in Starstruck. And in Broadway, he's a household name because he just does a lot of great projects. So we're just very, very fortunate to have him.
Fantastic. I think I want to make a trip to Bucks County.
Yeah, it's February 20th. We want everybody to come. It's 40 miles from Philly and maybe 60 or so from New York City. And so it's an easy train ride. And if you don't mind the cold weather,
I don't mind cold.
You'll be in a warm theater. You'll be supporting theater from the ground up. So I'm excited.
I can't wait for it to happen.
Thanks, Lois.
Amy, as you've both told the Indigo Girls story in many interviews, you brought more of the rock and even the punk from the music you grew up loving to your own music. Over the last few years, you've been deep into country, although it still sounds like Amy country, with no disrespect to Nashville. And you've released several solo albums. What can you express in country music that you feel you can't express anywhere else?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I think I find a lot of threads between punk and country, strong threads of the sort of stories of people, and something that's easy to grasp onto as far as, The Clash would write great punk songs with a few chords, and Johnny Cash did the same thing, and, Loretta Lynn, I mean, the old, classic country people. It wasn't a lot of guitar chords. It was just incredible melodies and great stories. So I think I just started to want to have a different. I was doing a bunch of punk and rock stuff, and I started writing songs that were more. I'd always written sort of mountain music kind of things in between, and Emily and I tended to have some country sounds, and I really just wanted to play with some pedal steel and, banjo and acoustic guitar and fiddle and, upright and all that stuff. And so I just started playing. I don't know what happened. I think it's just the storytelling. And I think I live in North Georgia, and I've lived there for over 30 years now. And I think it just started to get under my skin at some point, and really...
In a good way.
In a really good way, yeah. Because the music, when you walk up to the square when it's warm outside, and, well, actually in any weather, there's people playing, music together, and it's multi-generational. And, there's a lot of problems in rural life that are, like a lot of issues I have politically with disagreements with people up there and stuff. But there's also the storytelling and the things that we have in common, and the ways that you learn to respect the things that they come up against that you don't understand, and that molds their life. And so for me, I started being curious about people's stories, up there where I lived, and where I felt I've always felt more comfortable in the woods and in a rural environment. So I just sort of was like, it kind of started coming out in my music. And now my country band does a lot of, we'll dip into the old punk songs too. And it's just a different take on it. It's like a rockabilly or something.
Well, I have to follow Emily's true confession about musical theater with a true confession of my own. I used to loathe country music.
Which era, though?
Well, I like outlaw.
Yeah.
But a lot of it just felt too twangy,
Yeah.
And then, this was in the early 90s, I was listening to Fresh Air, and Terry Gross was interviewing Ray Charles. And he was talking about his love of country.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about the storytelling, that just engaged him, just enthralled him at such a young age. And I thought, well, I love Ray Charles music. Maybe I should give it more of a listen. And it always comes back to the story.
Yeah. It's just, everything comes back to the stories.
We are our stories.
Honestly, that's how we connect.
Would this be a good time for Shame on You?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
This is an Amy song.
Yeah, we could do it.
We're going to tune our guitars.
Yeah. This song I wrote, oh my God. When did I write? When was this, Emily?
This was like
90s?
Shaming of the Sun, right?
So that's 97 or something?
Yeah, 97.
And at that time, I was living in North Georgia, and we were going through something up there where there were raids at the poultry plants, and kind of like things don't change that much evidently, and they circle back around. But I was, it started out just being this song of hanging out with my friends, and they were helping me move to in the same land area from one little house cabin to another house. And I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to go sit at the river and hang out. And it became a song of admonishment. And then it just bloomed into this other song about politics. I don't know how that happens, but it does. So, that's kind of the background. My friends, they wash the windows and they shine in the sun. They say wake up early in the morning sometimes, see what a beautiful job we done. I said let's put on some tunes, lay around and do little all day. Come on down to the riverside, take off our shoes and wash these sins away. And that river said, la la la, it said, shame on you. And the river said, la la la, it said, shame on you. I go down to Chicana City Park because it makes me feel so fine. And when the weeds go down, you can see up close in the dead of the winter time. But when the summer comes, everything's in bloom and you wouldn't know it's there. And the white folks like to pretend it's not, but then music's in the air. hear them singing. La la la, they said, shame on you, and I could feel them dancing. La la la, they said, shame on you. Now my friend Tanner, she says, you know, me and Jesus, we're of the same heart. The only thing that keeps us distant is that I keep messing up. I said, come on down to Chicana City Park and wash your blues away. And when the beautiful ladies walk right by, well, we'll never know what to say. They'll be singing, ooh la 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 la, shame on you. They'll be dancing, la la la, they say, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. Let's go roadblock tripping in the middle of the night up in Gainesville town. And there'll be blue lights flashing on the long dirt road. When they asked me to step out, they said, ma'am, now we've been looking for some illegal immigrants and we gotta check out your car. I said, it's funny, I think we were on the same boat back in 1694. I said, ooh la 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 la, shame on you, and I'll be dancing. La 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 la, shame on you. I said, ooh la, we be dancing. Shame on you. Yeah, we'll be singing. Shame on you. Shame on you. Let's go roadblock tripping in the middle of the night up in Gainesville town. Oh, Sheriff, we're Georgia bound.
Wow. Okay. I don't think powerful protest songs are specific to the 1960s. I mean, that's fantastic.
That's one of my favorite Amy songs. That line, I think we were on the same boat.
Yep.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Oh, I got goosebumps.
Me
just
too.
now.
I never get tired of that line. Like, come on, people. Where are you from?
Yep.
Hello.
I encourage those of you who may not have seen the Indigo Girls documentary, It's Only Life After All, to watch it now. I mean now. It's streaming on Netflix. It got a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
wait,
I
we
didn't
didn't
know
know
that.
Yes, for all
that's
those
pretty
tomato
good.
heads. I know people who aren't even look at it.
I'm afraid to look at those ratings
Well,
for,
90.
for anything that I'm involved in. So.
Nope.
But that's great.
That is
Well, we all
great.
credit to the filmmaker, Alexandria Bombach, because
Yeah.
she's brilliant.
She did an amazing job. She did have a lot to work with. And
Well,
when
it's her baby, though. She created that arc, you know. That's hard to do.
it is very hard to do, she did a gorgeous job. And when the film released in 2023, Emily, you described it then as the most vulnerable you've ever been with your audience up to that point in terms of sharing personal aspects of your lives. Though you've always written from your heart, from deep in your hearts through your music, what kind of response did you observe from fans after the film came out?
I mean, our fans have always held us up in the most beautiful way. Not held us up, like we're in it together. Like they support us, and they're just incredible, an incredible community of supporters. And I think it's just human nature a lot of people, I don't even know if I can say most, but if you share something that's vulnerable to you or that you've had trouble sharing before, everybody's got stuff like that in their own lives that they either haven't shared or it's difficult to share. Maybe they'll share in time. It's like if you think about even people coming out as queer, some people can do it easier earlier, and some people are afraid to lose their job, and some people because of their family history. It's just we're all on a continuum of time of when we're able to release these things that have traumatized us or stuck like dirty secrets or whatever the case may be. So I feel, to answer your question, the response to the film was very good because it was very open and honest. And at this point, Amy and I are like, we might as well just tell it, like answer the questions. We didn't have anything to hide. I will admit, I had a bit of an emotional hangover after I saw the documentary because it's pretty revealing.
And raw in parts.
Yeah.
I mean, you share personal stories that are gut-wrenching.
Yeah, I mean, for me, being in recovery for alcohol, it was like, I remember when I was first in recovery, I was so paranoid someone was going to see me at a meeting or they were going to just, and I just I feel free from that, you know? I don't really feel any stigma about any illness that I'm going through myself. It just is the way it is. So I think that Alexandra was very disarming in her questions, and we were in a place we were just ready to just answer them honestly. And so that's what she put together, and our community was very, very supportive. And, you know, we can all relate to each other on a human level some way if we would just get to that place where we could share those things together.
Well, you did. And on a much lighter note, I've watched this film several times. I love it.
Sweet.
Amy choosing the traffic safety vest. What do you call that? The vest that workers who are on streets.
Actually, that's a motorcycle vest.
That was a
So
motor.
that you don't get hit. Yeah.
Okay.
But it looks like a safety. I mean, it's all the same thing. It's a reflective vest.
Whenever I see someone wearing a reflective vest, which is often in Atlanta area traffic, I think of Amy.
Oh, that's very sweet of
You
you.
wanted to wear that, like, you know, your little black dress equivalent.
That's right.
I thought that was fantastic.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Always young. Always young. Yeah.
That's great.
It's so heartening to see how you continue to amass fans among new generations. And I know that listening online and digital social media does have a lot to do with that. There was that Barbie movie.
Yeah, that helped.
That was a Barbie movie.
That was pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
So
And
exciting.
is it even possible for you to quantify? I mean, how do you measure new fans, new younger fans you've acquired since the movie came out 2 years ago?
Well, there are like certain things you can look at, like during that whole Barbie period of time, our monthly listenership on Spotify kind of skyrocketed, and then it went back down to kind of what it was before. But for a moment, you realize that people were paying attention. They were seeing the movie and they were hearing the song and they were paying attention. So that was really cool. And I always feel gratified when I see young people out in the audience. I was just with a friend yesterday, and she was saying one of her peers is a fan of our music, and she's in the car with her kids who are teenagers, and she's like, but you don't know the Indigo Girls. And they were like, yes, we do. And I was thinking, that's a miracle, but that's really cool. I don't always know how it happens, but Barbie was a real shot in the arm.
Well, what about your girls, 11 and 12?
Yeah.
Okay. Their friends know who you are, I presume.
That's a funny age I don't know how Cleo is, but I think Ozzy's appreciates what I do, and I think but liked it more when they were younger. I think now they don't. It's interesting. They've got their own musical world, and their friends know what I do, and they'll ask me questions sometimes about it. But it's very interesting to see this age, because really you start defining yourself at this age. And I think Ozzy's very like, you know, I mean, we like the same music, Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift, you know, like we like a lot of the same music, but Ozzy's got their own playlist, and they'll share it with me sometimes and sometimes not. And it's just really, so, you know, the moment in the car where Ozzy's like, let me hook my iPad up to the Bluetooth and share my playlist, I'm like, yes, that's a win.
Well, would this be a good time for Closer to Fine?
It would be.
Yes. Let's tune up.
We've always had to tune. This is a normal part of the gig.
That's very important. We like good intonation.
You like good intonation.
Poor intonation, not so much.
Yeah, it goes. I think it goes with the vibe. City likes to be in tune. Yeah,
That sounds pretty good.
pretty good.
All right. Closer to Fine.
Sing along.
1, 2, ready, and yeah, right. I'm trying to tell you something about my life. Maybe give me insight between black and white. And the best thing you ever done for me is to help me take my life less seriously. It's only life after all. Yeah. Well, darkness has a hunger that's insatiable, and lightness has a call that's hard to hear. I wrap my fear around me like a blanket. I sail my ship of safety till I sank it. I'm crawling on your shores, and I went to the doctor. I went to the mountains, and I looked to the children, and I drank from the fountains. There's more than one answer to these questions, pointing me in a crooked line. And the less I seek my source, closer I am to find. Yeah. Closer I am to find. Yeah. I went to see the doctor of philosophy with a poster of Rasputin and a beard down to his knee. And he never did marry or see a big great movie. And he graded my performance. He said he could see through me. So I spent 4 years straight to the higher mind. I got my paper and I was free. And I went to the doctor. I went to the mountains, and I looked to the children, and I drank from the fountains. But there's more than one answer to these questions, pointing me in a crooked line. And the less I seek my source, closer I am to find. Yeah. Closer I am to find. Well, I stopped by the bar at 3 a.m. to seek solace in a bottle, possibly a friend. And I woke up with a headache like my head against a board. I was twice as cloudy as I'd been the night before, and I went in seeking clarity. I went to the doctor, I went to the mountains, and I looked to the children, and I drank from the fountains. Yeah, we go to the doctor, we go to the mountains, we look to the children, we drink from the fountains. Yeah, we go to the Bible, and we go through the workout, we read up on revival, and we stand up for the lookout. There's more than one answer to these questions, pointing me in a crooked line.
Yes, I seek my source. Closer I am to find. Closer I am to find. Closer I am to find.
Thanks, y'all.
Brava! In his New York Times review of the film Glitter and Doom, which uses 15 of your songs, Wesley Morris praised the emotional mountain range of Emily Saliers and Amy Ray's songwriting. You're the Rockies, the Alps, the Appalachians. You're in good company. Emily co-authored a book with her dad, the distinguished theologian Don Saliers, A Song to Sing, A Life to Live, which explores the spirituality of music and its ability to heal people. Amy, I am fascinated by your self-identification as a Christian pagan, yet I think
Doesn't really work, but
that probably includes your belief in the power of music to heal and unify. I so admire your love of family, how you have remained steadfast advocates and allies for your communities, local and global. Women, queer folk, artists, the earth, underdogs, and real dogs. Yeah.
that's right.
Thank you for listening to WABE over the years, for your many visits to City Lights, and for honoring me with this show today. Your humility and grace are an inspiration.
Lois.
Lois.
We love you, Lois.
We love you. It's
I
such an
feel
honor.
emotional.
Yeah, me too.
It's an honor to be on your show. And you've done so much for this community. It's amazing. And WABE has. I mean, this is what we listen to. It is what we listen to.
Forever, ever.
You know?
How lucky are we? And that an NPR correspondent made it into an Emily Saliers musical.
NPR correspondents are very talented.
We think so.
Thank you,
Please
Lois. Thank you.
save them.
Yes, save
Best
all
of
public
luck
radio.
on that tour. Go home and pack. And thank you again.
Thanks,
I hope you
Lois.
get a nap.
And a lot of really good times.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lois.
You're the best.